This video is supported by Golden Era Muscle. Please visit goldeneramuscle.com for training information and supplements. Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here. Today I'd like to continue on the series on Frank Zane's ideas on thigh and calf development with a focus on Frank's principles to developing pleasing thigh development. Let's start off with this awesome shot of Frank Zane. It's another kneeling pose. He was very famous for doing these kneeling aesthetic poses, and you can clearly see, besides the phenomenal upper body development, what I like about this shot is, although his legs are obviously not overdeveloped, you can clearly see how well defined and shapely his thighs are, especially the hamstring. Now the hamstring back in the day of the golden era, it wasn't necessarily a very focused muscle for developing, but it is quite obvious that Frank Zane paid a lot of attention, and later in the video I'm actually going to show some before and after shots of his thigh development to really show you how his principles actually, how it affected his own physique, and I think they're very well worth applying. So as I've mentioned in a previous video on thigh and calf balance, one of the key principles that Frank Zane advocates is having a strong foundation, especially with regular squatting, using moderate to heavy weight to develop size and of course sweep. Now this is rather obvious in this first shot taken of him early on in his career, and this is a shot where he used to say that he used to squat about 400 pounds for 10 reps, and his thighs had developed rather large size, and you can see it quite clearly, although he was concerned that he didn't have shape, and so he actually then after this started focusing on lighter squatting for higher reps, mainly to get some deep cuts and some shape into his thighs. So let's look at the exercises, but more importantly the way he performed them to actually get these deep cuts into his thighs. Now, as I mentioned, Frank Zane was a big advocate of using the squat to develop size, but you can see that to actually develop the shape, he started using a 4x2 inch wooden block where he would raise his heels on it and therefore bring the development using, again, lighter weights as shown. That's just actually two 45 plates, so that's 135 pounds only, to bring those deep cuts into the front of his quads, mainly the teardrop muscle and the outer sweep, of course. This was a common practice actually in a lot of the golden era bodybuilders, using elevated heels. And I love this shot because he's even holding a vacuum, for God's sake, in the squat. It's so funny. Again, the hack squat machine advocated heavily by Vince Gironda to develop, especially depending on your foot position. You could target different parts of the quadriceps. Here he's got toes out, heels up again, to focus on the vastus medialis, which is the teardrop muscle, but of course one could also target the outer sweep. Again, why the hell are you holding a vacuum in the hack squat, Frank Zane? Jesus, he doesn't stop practicing his vacuums, does he? Oh my lord, another vacuum shot. Here he's actually performing leg extensions, again highly advocated by the golden era champions for developing deep cuts in the quadriceps, and again holding a vacuum. He never stops practicing those vacuums, does he? The leg press, notice again his heels are up, his toes are flaring slightly out, and he's actually doing these on his toes, very similar to the hack squat, to really focus on the quadriceps, especially very close to the knee. This is something that Vince Gironda was also a big fan of. He would actually say, take the weight off your heels and bring them onto the ball of your feet to actually target the lower parts of the quadriceps close to the knee. Leg curl obviously develops the hamstring, and this is something that I think Frank Zane did a great job, as you'll see at the end in the before and after shots. And to further develop the hamstrings, he performed stiff-legged deadlifts. And my God, he's holding a vacuum again. This is crazy. So he used to do stiff-legged deadlifts, as you can see with feet raised on a bench. Nowadays, of course, one can simply use a step and perform them like that to get full range of motion and greater development in the hamstrings. So these are the before and after shots that I've mentioned of Frank Zane, just at 18 years of age, weighing only 168 pounds. So that must be what, maybe 60, no, sorry, maybe more like 75 kilos. And yeah, you can see although he's got some pretty decent upper body development, his lower body is lacking, especially, yeah, I mean, everything is lacking, isn't it? But you can see the amazing transformation he's made over the years, especially with his hamstrings. I mean, you can see that his butt is more or less protruding in the first shot, which is common to many bodybuilders. And in the shot taken at Gold's Gym, where everyone is miring, even Arnold is miring, you can see that he's really developed the leg biceps or the hamstrings really well. So these principles in shaping and defining the thighs and the quadriceps have obviously been very successful for Frank Zane. Here are some more shots taken at the same time where everybody was just miring Frank Zane's body. He looks phenomenal. I mean, doing these kneeling poses, and yeah, I mean, and look at Arnold's face, just fully analyzing the shot, you know, and everyone else is just yeah, in awe, I guess. Even Dave Draper's having a good laugh. I don't know. Arnold must have said something there. But these are some great shots where you can really see the development of Frank Zane's physique, especially his thighs. Even in the kneeling poses, you can see how well defined those thighs are, all the way up to his hips. So I really like these shots. It really proves what Frank says about his what Frank Zane says about his about developing the shape of the thighs using these techniques, especially having the heels elevated and doing a lot of these exercises on the ball of your feet, so bringing the weight to the front to get those deep cuts in. Hope you've enjoyed this video on pleasing thigh development by Frank Zane. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and leave me a comment. I will be following this video up with Frank Zane's intermediate and advanced leg routines to actually sum up the thigh and calf series on Frank Zane, after which I will focus on upper body training principles also by Frank Zane. So thank you for watching, and this is the Golden Era Bookworm. Bye for now.